Nancy Stafford. We're going to bring her up in a minute. But for those of you who don't know what the Upper Room is, the Upper Room is a Christian event ministry that's based in South Orange County, California. If you're watching from anywhere from the United States, you'll know where South Orange County is. We do events on a once-a-month basis. We have Christian artists, we have comedians, we have speakers, and it's been a wonderful ministry that we started in 2009. And they say necessity is the mother of invention. And so as we're going through this quarantine, this self-imposed hibernation, or whatever they call it now, we have learned to make do with doing this streaming. So this will be our third event streaming. We did Gary Chapman earlier this week, and last week we had on internist Dr. Gregory Katz talking about the COVID virus. And I'm pleased to announce that on next Monday, the 20th of April, we're going to be having singer-songwriter, pioneer of Christian music, Paul Clark is going to join us. And Paul is one amazing individual. He's got some great stories. We're going to get into that with him as well. So here we are on Wednesday, April 5th. Today's tax day, by the way. And, I guess we've got some extensions on that because I didn't file mine and I got to pay. So I always file an extension anyway. But so we're going to have Paul Clark next week. And so that's what we're doing. Oh, a couple things before we bring Nancy in. If you're watching and you want to bring somebody in that you think would benefit from watching this or like watching this, just tag them and they'll come into this. And if you like what you're doing, like us on Facebook because that really helps us out. And so if you like what we're doing, like us on Facebook. And if you're interested in learning more about the Upper Room, go on the website, theupperroompresents.com, theupperroompresents.com, all one word. And you'll see what we're doing there. So anyway, hey, I am so excited to be bringing Nancy aboard tonight. Nancy is actually Nancy and her husband Larry are dear friends of mine, and she's really got quite a career. And as I was getting prepared for this today, she spent 5 years on this as Andy Griffith's co-star on Matlock. She spent 3 years on the television series Saint Elsewhere, and I think we'll talk about that. She was on Sidekicks. She was on the soap opera The Doctors. She spent 2 years in a recurring role on Scandal. In addition to being an actress, she's also an author and a nationally recognized speaker. She is a graduate of University of Florida, and she was Miss Florida in the Miss America pageant. She probably won't tell us how many years ago, but she looked so great that it was only probably a few years ago. So we're going to bring Nancy in now, and so would you folks welcome Nancy Stafford? There she is.
Hello, my friend. It's so good to be with you.
You too. So,
no, I'm not going to say how long ago it was. But there's this thing called Google.
97 or something like that, right?
Mid-70s, yeah.
Yeah, you look great. And so you were Miss Florida. What was that like?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was so fun. It was the Miss America pageant, which I am a big fan of. It was a scholarship pageant, and I had to play the piano. I had to dust off the keys of my piano to do my talent. Yeah. And it really was, I attribute the Miss Florida and Miss America program with really giving me a shot in the arm of confidence and kind of giving me a little bit of, I was bitten by the bug a little bit. And that's sort of the thing. Even though I had a career after that in PR and marketing, that's what really drove me into entertainment.
Really? So that little bit. So tell us how you got involved in the Miss America pageant.
Totally, the Lord had to be, because it was so crazy. I was on a fast track to get through college fast. My parents were running out of money. They'd sent my brother to law school before me. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here fast. So I was a journalism graduate and went through in 3 years. I never took a break. I just got out of school in 3 years. So when I left and came back home, I was about to go back to graduate school to go to marketing for a marketing grad degree. And all of my girlfriends were still up at, in Gainesville, and I was away from everybody and lonely, waiting to go back to school. So a neighbor said, there's this thing about a scholarship that you might like. Well, I found out later as I went to the meeting that it was a orientation for Miss Florida, Miss Fort Lauderdale. I thought it was the weirdest thing ever. I just said, oh my gosh, this is so weird. I can't walk around in a swimsuit with heels. This is just not me. But the organizer kept saying, I think you'll do really well. Please come back, which I did. And I did end up winning Miss Fort Lauderdale. I didn't realize it goes on to Miss Florida. I took my $500 scholarship. And then he goes, oh no, in 3 months you go to Miss Florida. I went, oh. So I win that. And I have like Maybelline, makeup on. I mean, I'm like so under qualified for this. And then I found out then it goes, of course, on to Miss America. And honestly, I had a lousy attitude about it at first because I won Miss Florida, then went to Miss America, did not win. And I'm 21 years old by then. And I'm ready to get on with my career. So I find out I've got a contract to fulfill for the next 9 months. I've got to be Miss Florida. Mm-hmm. And at first I thought, and then I realized, Nancy, you are an ingrate. You're a PR major. What better PR job could there be on the planet than to represent the entire state of Florida in this role? So I went to the business manager and I said to her, okay, I don't know what your previous Miss Floridas have done, but I want to work every single day. So put me to work. And she did. And I went from one end of that state to the next, cutting ribbons, giving speeches at the Capitol and everything in between, and absolutely loved it.
Well, I'll bet that really prepared you for just being in the public spotlight, and because you're thrown in and you have to do it.
Yeah,
so that's what
it really was.
How far did you get in Miss America?
How did I get there?
How far did you get into Miss America?
I landed somewhere in the bottom 49.
Oh,
but I didn't even make the top 10.
Really?
So once you don't make the top 10, nobody wants to know what your rank was.
Well, we're glad that you were Miss Florida.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm going to do a little side note here. If you're watching and you want to ask questions, because we are going to get to questions relatively early tonight and throughout the time we're with Nancy, start typing the questions in, and we're going to get to those very quickly, and we'll kind of do those sporadically as we go throughout. So Nancy, I know that you were busy promoting your latest film called First Lady just before all this broke. So where is this thing now? Where is it?
Where is it? Well, when lovely COVID-19 hit us, as they did everybody, we were actually in theaters. Right. And we had been released into about 70 theaters around the country, which was a wonderful gift for a small independent film. We did very well. And then COVID hit and all the theaters were, shutting down. So we are still probably, when it reopens, we hope to still be in a couple of theaters, maybe in Florida. And then we'll, hopefully the next step would be maybe licensed to broadcast, maybe on vision, after that to streaming. That's the producer's plan. The wonderful Nina May, who wrote, produced, and directed the film and has become a dear friend, created a lovely, darling, romantic comedy.
Yeah, and I got to view, Kathy and I got to view the film last night and loved it. And it was, you have your co-star Corbin Burnson, who.
Yes. Can you see the poster of us back here?
Oh, there it is.
Hovering over me. Yes.
Yeah.
He is so funny. We had a blast. Corbin is the best.
He looks like he would be a fun guy to hang out with and do a movie with.
He absolutely is charming.
You had Stacey Dash on there as well. Mm-hmm. It was one of your aides as First Lady. And I don't want to spoil the premise of the movie, and because it's not out, but you gave me a special secret viewing of it so we could talk about it a little bit. And so that was fun. And so we hope that it's going to do well once this craziness passes. And
thank you. I think it will do very, very well. It's what I love is here we are in a political year, election year. And here it is, a movie that's set in the world of presidential politics that's not at all political.
Yeah.
So I think it's really going to be fun. It's just a chance for everybody to reach across the aisle, no matter what your political persuasion, and just take an hour and a half and just smile and laugh and have fun.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's just a fun feel-good movie. So you are a Christian working in Hollywood and have been for many, many years. Have you found that to be is a challenge to your faith, or has it been a challenge to your career, or all of the above?
It's I will say it's never been a challenge to my faith.
Yeah.
It has been a challenge to my career.
Sure.
But you know what? Who was it? Paul that talked about, I count all things as loss.
Right.
I've lost work. I've been fired by agents who thought I didn't want to work. And I would explain to them, no, you have no idea how much I want to work. I don't want that work.
Yeah.
And after Matlock ended, I had the great luxury of being in such a wonderful, wholesome show with, an American icon, Andy Griffith. And when that ended, I took a little bit of a 6-month break, and then I did a couple TV movies. And now I'm ready for my next series because I love series work. I love series.
Is there
TV.
Another series coming in?
No, there was not one at that time because everything. This is back in the Matlock, after Matlock days.
Right.
So this is like early 92, 93 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that was coming out was just really pressing the envelope about as far as they could in edginess and profanity and just as dark and bleak as it could be. And that's when I started saying, I'm just not interested in that. It's just not who I am. And so it's been challenging over the years. I had a lot of years where I didn't work much, but I still felt that the Lord had really told me I'm to stay here. He brought me here for a reason, and that I'm not to go somewhere else and do something else. And I didn't even do any faith films for a long time. I finally did one called The Wager, which with Randy Travis, which I absolutely loved. It was a lovely movie, well done. And I've done a number of faith films since because they've really gotten so good.
Yeah.
But even those, I've turned down a lot of those, primarily for the content, primarily for the theology that I didn't think was true.
I imagine some of them would be compromising scenes that you may not want to do. And
Right. But by and large, I'm just so proud of the faith world and how many upcoming new filmmakers there are of this wonderful faith-based genre that is emerging. And in fact, I have a wonderful producing partner named Paul Lambert, and he and I have about 3 incredible TV projects, 2 films, and he has another slate of musical theater and Broadway shows and all kinds of other. He has a wonderful TV series too, that all are really kind of focused on this faith-based genre. Yeah. So it is exploding, and we're very excited to be a part of that.
It really is. Yeah, and I'm glad, and you're right in the right spot for that.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see if we could take a question here. Let me see what we could pull up here, and got some comments coming in. Some are questions and comments. And,
I see it over here. I've never done a Facebook Live
see
before.
It there?
I see it. Yeah. Jeff, can you see the little line? Okay.
Jeff Smith said, "Say hello to Nancy. Good to see you again."
Hey, Jeff. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Jeff's a fabulous photographer, by the way, in New York City. Oh my goodness.
Is he really?
Oh my gosh, great photographer.
Okay. Gloria Johnson says hello to you.
Hey, Gloria. Good to see you.
Paul Lambert, Nancy, you're so energetic and confident looking. Looking forward to this interview. Good. Okay. Well, we're on. And
that's my producing partner, Paul.
Oh, is it?
Hey, Paul.
Oh, wonderful.
This is my producing partner, Paul Lambert, who I was just speaking of.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
We're doing the slate of faith-based films.
Yeah, he also said Nancy's so energetic and confident. Okay, this is a repeat. Sorry. Sarah Snyder says hello to you.
Hey, here's Sarah.
One from a common friend that you and I both have, Mark Walker. Hi, Mark. Good to see you there.
Hey, Mark.
I had known Larry Myers. Larry is Nancy's husband. from the Chuck Girard Band. I'd never met Nancy until the Chuck Girard Band played at the Upper Room.
At the Upper Room at Christmas. Was it? No, it was.
Well, yeah, it was sometime last year. I think. Well, early 2019. Let's see. Nancy came to the concert, and I was a bit intimidated to go up to her to introduce myself. She couldn't have been more gracious and
Mark.
Well,
you're one of my heroes. I love you. And since we're both on right now, Mark, we can now sing the praises of Upper Room, right? I mean, oh my gosh, Ron, you and Kathy, his wife Kathy, and I have become all very good friends, the four of us. But I'm telling you, the Upper Room, if you're in Southern California, in Orange County, you must visit this incredible concert venue. It is intimate and beautiful, and he gets these amazing artists that come in, and it's a very special, special place. And comedians come, and singers, and people from the day, as well as emerging artists. It's just, I'm very proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
You've done a beautiful thing.
Thank you. And Larry, your husband, who's a musician, has played there on a number of occasions with different
with Bob Bennett, and he's played with Chris Lizotte. And he's played with, of course, Chuck Girard. He was in the Chuck Girard Band back in the day.
That's right.
Who else did he play with? I'm sure he'll remind me later.
Yeah.
He might be watching. Maybe he can comment and say, hey, you forgot 5 of them.
Exactly. Here's one. Sarah Snyder, can't wait for First Lady to be released for purchase. It wasn't in theaters around here, and I'm chomping at the bit to see it.
Thank you, Sarah. I will be alerting everyone, so stay tuned.
Good. Nancy Royce says, hi, Nancy. Or Rebecca Royce, I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Rebecca Royce. I haven't seen you in years. Hi.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to some questions. So keep sending some questions in, and we'll get to some of those in a little bit later too. So let's go back. Well, a couple little side items. Wasn't it you told me that you got to kiss Tom Selleck in an episode of Magnum PI?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, how was that? Not that I care, but maybe.
Seriously, you're asking me the question. How was it? What do you think? Oh my gosh. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was, but I'm a professional.
Yeah.
But we rehearsed.
Sure. Well, you had to do a lot of takes. Yeah.
That's right.
Hold it a little bit longer, Tom. Well, he's a great guy. And then, of course, you were the love interest of Mark Harmon on St. Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was his fiance and the hospital administrator, so I was not very liked by all the medical staff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I enjoyed Mark. Mark is a great guy. I've been very blessed. I've had amazing leading men. There's not a stinker in the bunch. Every single one has just been better than the last. So I'm a lucky girl.
Well, you've been able to work with some of the best, and of course now Andy Griffith, who, as you said earlier, American icon.
Yeah.
In American television and comedy.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your time on Natlock and what that was like working with him.
Oh, gosh. Well, hopefully some of our people who are tuning in either saw it in the day or they're now of a generation where they're watching in reruns. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful we are heavy syndication. So we're still out there. But amazing. To get to work with a legend like Andy, who created, he's guys that has had the fortune to create 2 iconic characters that really have impacted, I think, our culture. From Andy Griffith, the Andy Griffith days of Mayberry, that incredible show that still brings tears to my eyes every time I see an episode. Yeah. It has really impacted families, and just an amazing. And Andy cares deeply. He cared deeply about these characters and created them very, very intentionally, including Matlock, even though he was this crazy like a fox, sly like a fox kind of character.
Yeah.
Andy crafted him intentionally to have tremendous values, and he stood for righteousness, and he was a defense attorney. But if he found out, only 1 or 2 episodes, I think we might have had that his client was actually guilty.
Oh, really?
And he came out with a way in the script that was written for us to still find the man guilty without him losing the case. So he cared deeply about that, but he was also the funniest guy on earth.
Yeah.
So we had a blast. Every day was a party.
Was it really?
Yes.
So Andy created the whole Matlock character and the whole show concept.
He didn't exactly, no. They tapped him to do it. The character Matlock is loosely based on a real life character, a real attorney from Texas, I think.
Right.
And so it was a time when really Andy had been out of the limelight for a while. He'd had some health issues. Yeah. And so this brought him back in a wonderful way. And it was like a whole rebirth for him. And we got along great. I did not play a daughter. I was his law partner, but we were actually, I think that our relationship, I think in so many ways was actually more like a father-daughter than even some of the daughters that came before me and after me. But I loved him dearly and he loved Larry. I mean, one of the sweetest memories I have is, Andy loved to play music.
Sure. He was a good player.
He was a good singer. He did couple gospel records too toward the end.
Yeah.
And he would always have his guitar on set. And if it was a day that, we had a little bit of time in between setups, he'd sidle over to me and he'd say, "Hey, call Larry, have him bring his mandolin over."
Did he really?
So I did. And of course, Larry did. And so the guys would just jam.
Is that right? What a great Larry to get to play and jam with Andy Griffith.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And Andy loved it because Larry's a very good player. So he really appreciated good musicians.
And how can you not love Larry?
Had a blast.
What an incredible guy. One of the things I remember about Matlock and the character Matlock and Andy Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show is you didn't realize, I mean, you knew they were the same person, but the character was so utterly different. You didn't confuse them. Like some people get typecast. There wasn't a typecast there. He was so different in his role as Matlock than he was as Andy Taylor.
Yeah, he was. Well, part of it, I think, is, and I've heard him talk about this, he was really the straight man in the Andy Griffith Show.
Yes.
Don Knotts and all these other wonderful swirl of characters that were all around him were the quirky ones. And he really was the guy to feed the straight line to the comedians.
Yeah.
And so he didn't shine quite in the comedic way. He was the grounding, centered. He was the foundation for that show. Still charming as all get out, but he wasn't the comedian. So when he came to do Matlock, suddenly now he got to be the comedic foil, So and he loved every bit of it. So many of those bits that viewers came to love, like the shoe shining stuff and the hot dogs, eating the hot dog. Those are all Andy inventions.
Yeah, and it was such a great series, and I see it sometimes on TV now, and it stands the test of time.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. It does.
Yeah.
And what's fun to me is that we're being introduced to a whole new generation. So it's in the reruns. It's not just the people of my generation that liked it the first time that are feeling nostalgic.
Right.
But we are huge on college campuses.
Really?
I get a lot of fan mail from college students.
Is that right?
And here's what it is. Era now in television, everything has its season. Things change. Things have, different times. And right now there is this thing in episodic television where it's usually a serial. It continues episode to episode. You have to watch the whole thing to, there's not a standalone. It's not what they call a closed-end mystery.
Right.
Okay? Well, Matlock was. It had a beginning, middle, end. Students can go to the student union at lunch, eat their lunch, watch for an hour, and then they go on to class. They don't have to invest themselves in an entire season. And it feels good. It's values, I think, which I think is, again, back to the faith genre, the faith-based values. It wasn't a Christian show by any means, but it had faith-based kingdom kind of values. And that's what we yearn for. That's what our hearts yearn for. That's why I think this next season in entertainment, I think we'll be surprised. We want that. The audiences want it. And Hollywood's starting to get aware of it.
They're starting to get it, aren't they? And Andy was a believer, was he not?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And he became even stronger as his life progressed toward the end. Yeah. We stayed in touch, and I just adored him.
Well, we're talking about the old Andy Griffith show, and we talked about Don Knotts, what was his character? Barney Fife. But you actually had the chance and the opportunity and the privilege of working with Don when he guest starred on Matlock a few times, and you've told me those stories. Tell me what that was like when he came onto the set and those two got together again.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy, wonderful, crazy.
Was it?
Don actually, it's funny because Don in real life was extremely shy.
Was he
extremely
really?
Shy.
Wow.
Painfully shy, quiet.
No kidding.
But man, oh man, as soon as he got near Andy, or as soon as the lights went on, he had to do his thing, he would immediately become that character. But he was very lovely, very sweet. But when he and Andy got together, it was like they never missed a beat.
No kidding.
They just became these great characters for each other all over again. And they were the funniest guys. And when they were working, especially in a scene, of course, we were shooting at Universal Studios, huge lot here in Los Angeles. And there are, I don't know how many stages on that lot. There's hundreds of stages.
Right.
And the big tower where all the executives are, head of all the networks and head of, Universal. Well, everybody knew when, I don't know how, but word got out when Don Knotts was coming to shoot Matlock. And I'm telling you, the place got jammed with people.
Really?
People from other stages. Quantum Leap was shooting right next door to us, and Scott Bakula would sneak in the back door and kind of watch in the sidelines. And the execs, the top heads of Universal and NBC would come down the tower, and they'd all lurk in the sidelines watching these two guys do their magic. It was amazing. Yeah.
He was just an iconic character and just so funny.
Yeah.
What a great privilege to work with him.
Yeah. An honor that I'll always cherish.
Yeah. What a joy. Not very many people can say that they had the chance to work with a iconic star like Andy Griffith.
All right. And that every day was a joy to work with him. I mean, we got along so beautifully, and I loved him. And, that's another thing. You can do a show, and when you do a series for as long, like 5 years, you hope that you're going to like your castmates.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been so blessed. Every show I've ever done, I've loved everybody. But Matlock had just a really special place in my heart, especially Andy.
Oh, yeah. What a great. Oh, here's one from somebody that you and I know.
Okay.
Oops, no, wrong one. We'll come back to that one. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Let's see. My wife, Kathy.
Kathy!
I come here to do this, and she's still on me. So, but okay, she reminded. This is great because this is a story that you and I and Kathy and Larry got to experience together. To have Nancy tell the story about Vince Gill that he told at the concert that we went to about George Jones and so forth.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that? That was a fun.
I totally do. I wish I had the photo to shoot up there to show you. Okay, so Ron and Kathy had invited Larry and me to a Vince Gill and was it Lyle Lovett?
Lyle Lovett.
Concert.
Lyle Lovett.
The two of them, acoustic set, hour and a half show. They talked, they bantered, and then they played. Each of them played some of their best songs, and they played together. It was an amazing concert. So one of the stories that Vince Gill was telling was how he absolutely adored George Jones. He was sort of his icon. And he would just look up to him, and he was following around trying to be just like George Jones. And George would go, I guess they toured together, or he opened for George or something at some point.
Well, here's the funny part of it. If maybe I'll just, but George, he was the open. Vince was, before he was really well known, was the opener for George Jones. But George would actually have, he would go on first and have Vince come on afterwards because he couldn't miss a certain show, which was what?
Matlock. You're exactly right. So he went on first.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And then he went to his trailer so he could catch the episode of Matlock in his trailer. Yeah. And Vince, who was supposed to open for him, went on in the main stage. And after the concert was over, then Vince would go to the door and rap on it and walk in, and he's watching Matlock. And so Vince is telling this story that George Jones would never miss an episode of Matlock.
Right.
And so afterward, Kathy, who you and Ron too, but Kathy, the instigator, I love you. She's the one that said, she grabbed me by the arm and said, we're going to go backstage. They have to know this. So we go backstage, and she knocks on the door and tells the stage manager, hey, we've got the co-star of Matlock here tonight. Andy's co-star. And he looked at her just real gruff and said, well, we'll see. So he comes back out in about 5 minutes, and the whole dressing room out there is full of people, wasn't it, Ron? I mean, there were like 25, 30 people waiting to see Vince Gill. And I'm like so embarrassed. And suddenly the security guy comes out and he goes, hey, where's the lady from Matlock?
We got to the head of the line.
Yeah, we got to the head of the line.
And you got to
tell good to be on that story.
And he was really
cool. Yeah. We got a nice photo together.
Yeah, that was great.
It was sweet.
Yeah, he said he would go back to his tour bus after his set, turn on Matlock, put on his pajamas, and open a can of SpaghettiOs. Or it was one of those.
That's right. A perfect accompaniment to Matlock. Probably with a hot dog on the side.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a fun evening. We're going to bring up another question here. This is Sarah Snyder. I love Don Knotts' guest appearance in Matlock hostage episode. I can't recall the name of the episode, but he didn't get. Oh, let's see if there's a way to. Let's see, but he didn't get Michelle's message on the newspaper and went happily about his business. Obviously hilarious. I don't know what that means. Maybe you do.
I think that was the plot line she's describing. Okay. Yes.
But yes, wasn't he great?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's bring one up from Gloria Johnson. Other than Matlock, which is still one of my favorite shows. I still watch it every chance I get. What has been one of your most memorable times in your career? It's a good question.
Wow, that's a good question. And that's from Gloria. Okay. That's a hard question. Whenever I'm asked, what's been your favorite project? It's the one I just finished.
Is that right?
That's just the way it is. So First Lady is now my favorite project.
Is it your favorite project now?
But I had some amazing other experiences. I think I guest starred on an episode of Riptide way back in the day. I don't know if you remember Riptide.
I remember the show.
And it was, and I played it was one of the best roles I've ever had in my entire career. I played a PTSD nurse who had just come back from Vietnam, having seen horrors, and was traumatized. But anyway, it was a really fabulous experience. St. Elsewhere was great. I did a little show that was not seen much. I mean, it was on Friday nights on NBC or ABC called Sidekicks. We were a Disney show.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it. We only lasted a year because they put us on at a time slot that was too late at night. We were a little family show. Yeah. But that was a blast. That was a great, great show.
Yeah.
So they're all great. I love everyone I've done. Heaven Bound was a fun one I got to do with the wonderful Danny Vincent and Tori Martin and Michael Joyner, who's a very, very funny Christian comedian. Tori Martin is hysterical.
I still haven't had a chance to watch that one, and that looked fun. How can we find that one?
You know what? Heaven Bound is either on Amazon Prime or Netflix. It's streaming now.
Is it?
Yep. And Heritage Falls is another wonderful film that aired just a couple of years ago on INSP television. It's also streaming right now, and it's a wonderful movie about fathers and sons. It's very funny, but very poignant too. It's a lovely movie. So.
Oh, good. I'll have to look those up. So name those again. So everybody knows.
What?
Heritage Falls, and what was the other one?
Heritage Falls and Heaven Bound.
Heaven Bound, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one from Lee Shuko, from Rhonda and Lee. What's next after First Lady? Or after? Yeah.
Oh, good question. They're taking all your questions, Ron.
They are. I've got 4 pages of notes here, and I haven't even gotten to them yet.
Who needs notes?
Exactly.
Well, thanks for asking that. Yeah, there are several things pending. There's a few things that we're pending until COVID-19, but I'm sure, just like all of you, everything's been put on pause for the moment. I'm praying that they all get up again when everything returns to normal. But I do have a wonderful project called Grace, which is a female frontier missionary in the late 1800s.
Oh, that sounds.
And I'm going to be Grace, and I'm going to be directing that one. It's a feature film. So we're still in the fundraising phase of things and in pre-production, but it's going to be a lovely, lovely film. And I'm also, I directed a film with another wonderful young film director who is a graduate of Asbury University. This was in connection with Asbury in Kentucky. Their film department is phenomenal. And they asked me to co-direct a feature for them about a year and a half ago. And so we're finishing touches on post-production for that film. And then, of course, I mentioned the slate of 4 or 5, 6 other projects that I'm trying to move forward as a producer. So
on the next,
prayers appreciated for all these projects, folks.
Indeed. I was getting tired just reading your bio of all the different projects that you've done. You've done so many of them. Let's see. Here's one from Jeff Smith again. Let me see if I had a huge pleasure of meeting and interviewing her at TBN last year. But it's her work in faith-based films that's most impressive. Had a very nice conversation with her about upcoming films she's doing. 2 questions. Are there any particular scriptures that you study or learn from frequently that are your favorite? And have you ever had your own idea of a faith-based film you've always wanted to do, but haven't pursued it for whatever reason?
Yes, and yes. Yes, I always have ideas for faith-based films, and I am pursuing those, and little by little, they're coming together. So yes, thank you. And yes, I've got a number of scriptures that have been sort of my lifeline throughout my life. And right now, in particular, with everything all of us are going through with COVID-19 and this very unusual time, I'm every day realizing how much fear people are living with.
Yeah, isn't that true?
Even believers, but certainly those in the world who don't have the hope that we have, that don't have the grounding and the foundation of security that we have, that despite any circumstances, we know that God is on the throne and that all will be well. And so some of the scriptures, I've actually written a couple of them right here that I wanted to share because they're my go-to for now, but they also, I think, will hopefully encourage you guys to grab hold of. And one of them is, you remember the famous scripture from 1 Timothy where he says, I've not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And what better time do we have now to hold on to that we have the power of the Holy Spirit within us. We have love because the world out there is floundering and they need to know Jesus' love through us to them. And we need a sound mind so that our minds don't go crazy with anxiety and fear and all those things, that we have to know the truth of who God says we are and who we are in Him.
Yeah, and that sound mind, because people are going through that. So I hear some people,
they are.
Well, some of them are. I had
it's crazy.
Yeah, well, I won't go into that. But yes, people are kind of losing their nut right now with all of this.
But I think it also reminds me, too, of, in fact, I wrote last month, Easter, I send out an email newsletter that goes out to many, many people. And those of you who would like to sign up for it, you can go to my website, nancystafford.com, and sign up for it. I only send it out once a month, so I will not bombard you.
nancystafford.com. Nancy Stafford, one word, right? No dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was really, I was talking about how Jesus in the Gospel of John, several chapters, where a time not unlike what we're facing now, a time of tremendous uncertainty. He's about to go to the cross. He's about to be separated from his beloved disciples. He's entering into one of the most difficult times, and they're not understanding what is going on. And basically, Jesus keeps assuring them, let not your hearts be troubled.
Yes.
Peace I leave you.
Mm-hmm.
My peace I give to you, not as the world gives, but as I give. And he says this reminder, in this world you will have trouble.
That's right.
But then he says, but be of good cheer, be of good heart, take heart, because I have overcome the world.
Overcome the world.
And we need to remember that he is our foundation. He is our security.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever our anxious thoughts, back to Paul in Philippians, whenever, he commands us over and over and over again, because he knows we're prone to anxiety, right? And
That's
fear.
Right. That's right.
And he says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything, with prayer and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. And then what happens? The peace of God,
That's right,
that really does surpass all of our human understanding, our anxiety and our fear, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And that's so the antidote. We got to hang on to that right now. Not only for us, but we got to share it with everybody else.
Yep.
I mean, that's the hope.
That's the hope we have. And what a joy, huh?
Yeah.
Go through a crazy time like this, but
yeah,
we know who's in control.
Yeah, we do.
And we know how it ends.
And we know his love. That's the other thing. Circumstances may worsen. There's no guarantee that anything is going to turn out perfect, but
that's correct.
We have the love of God that can never be removed from us. It is everlasting. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. And there's such comfort in that.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't leave us twisting in the wind, does he?
No. And we can withstand anything when we know we are established in the love of Christ.
Amen.
At least I've experienced that in my life.
Yes, indeed. Well, and you've written some books that have talked about that as well. Talk about the books that you've done 2 books as an author.
2 books. The first one is called Beauty by the Book. The subtitle tells the story. Its subtitle is Seeing Yourself as God Sees You.
Mm.
And it may look like a chick book on the cover, but it's not a chick book.
Not a chick book?
No. It's really about discovering who God says we are in him. It's so much of the very thing I've been talking about. And I'll be honest with you, I am very selfish. I'm a selfish writer.
You're a selfish writer?
I write what I need. Because I figure if I need it, then I figure maybe somebody else could use it too. Well, so I wrote Beauty by the Book because I really struggled for many, many, many years, and still do at times, with deep feelings of inadequacy, deep feelings of insecurity. And I don't think I'm alone in that. But the antidote to that has been replacing all the lies that I tell myself with you're nothing, you can't do this, you're worthless, who do you think you are to try this, with the truth of Scripture saying, I've given you the spirit of confidence that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, that you're my beloved. I love you with an everlasting love. All those replacements of our own faulty thinking. And I also wrote The Wonder of His Love, the second book.
Before you go to that one, I was read Assist News, their review on your book, Beauty by the Book. This is a quote, one of the most valuable Christian books to be published in decades, by Assist News. And
that was a man reviewer, by the way.
That was a man reviewer, I know. And
a reviewer. That's why I say it's not a chick.
Yeah, your friend of mine, Dan Wooding, who ran Assist News, went to be with the North earlier this year. Great guy.
I love Dan.
Yeah, but what a great review. So tell us a little bit about The Wonder of His Love. I'm sorry, yes, The Wonder of His Love.
Oh, The Wonder of His Love is the second book. And it's a 31-day devotional take 31 days, take an entire month, and let's dive deep into 31 aspects of God's love for us that we may not recognize. It's a journey into the heart of God. And again, I wrote it because I needed it. I needed to be reminded of God's love. Because what I've learned over the years is if we do not appropriate and live in love, in God's love for us, we immediately go to the law.
Yes.
We go to legalism.
Our nature.
Yes. We go to religion. We go to, I have to do things exactly right, and I have to obey the rules and do everything right, and then God will love me. No, it's the opposite. Jesus came to fulfill the law, but he also says it's a relationship with me, and let me show you 31 aspects of my love that you've totally missed.
And that's what you will find in that book.
Yeah.
And a great review by the famous Bible study teacher, women Bible study teacher, Beth Moore, said it was like a warm embrace from God himself. And so that's a great endorsement for that book.
Very gracious. So gracious.
So those books are still available. Probably can get them on Amazon or some of those other stuff where you can buy them.
Or you can get them from my website if you want me to autograph them.
NancyStafford.com, and you'll autograph them.
Yes, but they're cheaper on Amazon. So
are they?
I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you if you buy them from there.
You make them if they bet. Help Nancy.
If they buy from me, I do.
Don't be a cheapskate and buy them on Amazon. Help Nancy out and go straight to the site and get them. The Wonder of His Love and Beauty by the Book. Two great books that she's written. So go to NancyStafford.com, and if you are going to be a cheapskate, then you can get them on Amazon. So.
Let's shame everybody out there.
I know. Well, I'm good at that. That's my forte. Sarcasm and shame.
I love you, Ron Strand.
Love you too. Let's see. We got a couple more comments here. Here's a good personal one because I did want to get to Larry. This is from Carol McNeil. How long have you been married to Larry Myers? I love the Chuck Girard Band, and I loved seeing them play at the Upper Room was such a treat.
Yes,
thanks,
Carol. That was a treat.
Yeah.
What a special night that was. That was all the original guys.
That
from
was.
The Chuck Girard.
Well, minus one who had passed away since then, but it's pretty much the original band.
Yep.
Terry Clark was in that band, and
Terry Clark, amazing.
Truax, and of course Larry and Mark Walker.
Good old Mark Walker.
Good old Mark Walker. So how long have you and Larry been married?
We will be 31 years next month.
Wonderful. Next month.
Yeah.
May wedding.
It has flown by. I mean, it's the greatest. I mean,
doesn't
he's
it
the most
fly by
amazing
so
man.
quickly? I was just telling Kathy that the other day. I said, doesn't it just seem like yesterday? And she goes, well, it didn't seem like yesterday, but yeah, it goes quick.
It does. And the older you get, the faster it goes. Have you noticed that?
It really does.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about how you met Larry.
I met Larry Myers, a godly man.
Very godly.
In the singles capital of the world, Marina Del Rey, California.
Oh.
And I was living in a condo there, and I was working on, forget what show I was. I guess I was doing Sidekicks at the time. And I whipped into a espresso shop. This is way pre-Starbucks. I mean, it was a really, early days, but espresso shop. So I ran into there, and Larry was living on a sailboat right across the parking lot in the marina, in Marina Del Rey. And he would go there for his first coffee.
Can we say whose boat he was living
on?
Maybe not.
Larry, are you going to let us know? You can say it. I'm not going to say it.
Well, he was living on Bob Dylan's boat because he was taking care of Bob Dylan's boat, and Larry got to know Bob very well, and so what a great experience that was. So anyway, Sidekick.
And they were good friends. Larry had a very important part of Bob's life. So
yes, he did. Part of his coming to Christ, and so that's another great story.
Yeah.
But so you went into this espresso.
That's a story for Larry to tell.
Yeah.
So I go into the shop, and Larry is reading a newspaper, and suddenly he pulls down the newspaper, and these lovely blue eyes just looked at me. And I, who never have been attracted to men by looks, you make me laugh and my knees go absolutely weak. But I just, looks have just never been that big a thing.
Yeah.
And Larry is great looking, but I mean, he lowered this, and something in me, I could hear the air suck out of me. I went, wow. And then I was embarrassed, and I walked right past him. And then I turned back around. He said, hi. And I went, hi. And I left the room and went to mail some letters, came back, And then he was still there. And he said to me, you know, if I were to see you at a party, I would just really have to get to know you. So innocent, so with no guile.
I'm going to have
so
to tease him about that one.
I know. But me, the cynic, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I was crestfallen because I'm thinking, all right, where's all your gold chains? Where's your Ferrari out there? I know that you're just a marina guy. What a line that is. So I was a little disappointed, but I just said hi. Literally the next week, we ran into each other almost every day.
So nothing happened out of that first encounter?
No. But the next day I saw him again at the grocery store and we said, hi, how are you? And the next day at the mailbox, the next day somewhere else. I mean, at the gym. It was weird. And we are very attracted to each other, but neither of us imagined the other could be a believer. So we aren't going to go there. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so suddenly I see him at the gym again, like for the third time. And he comes out of an aerobics class and I'm on the bicycle, just, sweating and a mess. And he spots me and he comes over. And he says, oh my gosh, hi. And I'm looking at him and 25 women in an aerobics class. I'm thinking, oh, this guy's trouble. And he looks down at the book I'm reading on the bike. And he goes, wait a minute, you're reading Jay Adams? And I went, how do you know who Jay Adams is?
Oh.
And he says, are you a believer? I went, yes. Are you, Mr. Aerobics? And he said, I'm a pastor. I went, where in the heck do you pastor in your spandex? I mean, for heaven's sake. So found out that he was an associate pastor at a church. He said, and I knew one guy. I knew one man in Palos Verdes where he said he worked. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is such a long shot. Do you happen to know this guy? And he goes, oh, he's my boss. That's my church.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Ken Gullickson? Is it?
No, that wasn't Ken. He had already planted that church in West LA with Ken. This was Wayne Coombs.
Okay.
After Larry had taken a break. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Wayne. And so we started realizing, okay, well, I guess this is somebody I can see if there's a future with. And you're going to laugh, our first date was a spiritual warfare conference. In Anaheim, at the Anaheim Vineyard. And Larry thought, this will cinch it.
Romantic.
Yeah, oh gosh. I could hear
was
birds
there spiritual
chirping.
Warfare going on with you too?
Well, there has been through the years, I can tell you that. But no, I loved it. He thought to himself, okay, let's see if she likes this stuff. I mean, if she can hang with this, then there's a future.
Yeah.
Because I grew up Baptist, and then I went away from the Lord. I came back to the Lord. I was in a little Foursquare church now. And so I went with him to this thing. Worship was just touched me so deeply. And then John Wimber, who was giving this message, it was kind of a hard message actually to the church. He was basically, just saying, you gotta put your feet to the fire here. Yeah. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So we dated for 1.5 years, and then we're engaged for a year, and we're now coming on 31 years of marriage.
Wonderful. So. Wonderful story. Here's one talking about marriage. Here's one from your friend of mine, Tommy Coombs.
Tommy!
He says, we're headed towards 50 years. Yes, it does go fast. But Shelley says it feels like 100 years. Well, being married to Tommy, it would feel like 100 years. Poor Shelley.
Oh, no, that's so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, Tommy. Larry loves you so much.
Oh, what a great guy. Good dear friend. Tommy is one of the founding members of the group Love Song, and he is the frontman of the Tommy Coombs band, who travels throughout the world with the Billy Graham Association and Franklin Graham Samaritan's Purse all over the world as Franklin's worship band. And by the way, just a side note, we're going to be doing a broadcast with Tommy and the Tommy Coombs band soon here, and we're going to talk about some of the experiences they have. But Tommy, a friend.
Good.
Yeah. And then another upcoming event that we're having Monday. Paul Clark, dear friend, singer, songwriter. Paul, these are good, bro. Can't wait to be on. Paul's going to be on Monday, the 20th, 25th, 20th, the 20th. Good to see you.
Good. I'll be tuned in.
Yes.
Thanks, Paul.
Yes, indeed.
And Tommy.
Yes. So we've got just a few minutes left here. I'm just trying to see if there's any that we missed.
Oh, we do. This time goes by so fast.
It goes so quick. You know, I said I've got 4 pages of notes, and I did that the other night too with Gary Chapman, and I don't even think I've gotten to the notes. Yeah, let's see here. Kathy, my wife, wanted to mention that you also do spiritual Christian retreats, women's conferences.
I do.
Tell us about that.
I love it. It's my favorite thing. I love speaking, and I love getting to do conferences and events for women. I love women. I just love seeing them set free and seeing them become everything that God really intended them to be. And I get the joy of doing everything from keynotes as kind of bait. I'm brought in a lot as bait as the actress, so I get at evangelistic events. And then I love doing multi-session retreats where I get to go deeper. It's like 3 and 4 sessions where I'm there for the whole weekend and really take them on a journey. So.
How are you doing? Do you have? Well, of course, nobody can be planning on those right now.
No, there's one that's coming up in September that I'm in. It's called Women of Focus, and you can find out about that also on Facebook. And it is end of September, so I'm hoping that'll still happen. If not, it'll just be pushed a bit. So, and then I'm doing also an autograph, kind of a nostalgic show, which I always love doing these kind of autograph shows with nostalgia stars. It's called Happy Trails Virginia Style. It's in Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, really?
And that's going to be toward the end of October, and that's also on Facebook.
So
and hopefully that'll still happen.
Those are kind of conferences with people that have been on iconic movies and shows and so forth.
Yeah. Kathy Garver will be there from Family Ties, and just a whole bunch of other people that you've seen.
Family Affair, Kathy Garver.
Family Affair, thank you. Yes. Sorry, Kathy.
How did I even know that?
Yeah, that's kind of scary that you knew that.
It's a little bit scary. So yes, and you are involved in a few different ministries. You are on the board of directors of a few different ministries, and yeah.
There's a wonderful one. I was on the governing board. Now I've shifted over to the advisory board of SAT7, which I know Ron and Kathy are supported so faithfully, and we've been at things together for SAT7. And for those of you who don't know it, it's so exciting. I'll briefly tell you about it so you can check it out. Indeed. It's Christian satellite television that broadcasts throughout the whole Middle East, North Africa, all over Europe. It's indigenous programming. So it's all produced by, created by, presented by people who live in the region, speak the language. So it's culturally accurate and correct. And it's the Christians who live and work there. And it's broadcasting throughout the Muslim world and having an incredible impact. And it's on 5 channels in 4 languages, and over 25 million people are watching SAT7.
Wow.
So it's a tremendous way, and in the privacy of homes that can't be jammed because it's coming through the satellite. So it can't be jammed, can't be censored by the government. And in the privacy, people are hearing about the love of Jesus in their homes, and it's making a difference.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming to
and some Hollywood movies too. There's one more that, I have 1 minute. There's one more called the Greenhouse Ministries. It's called greenhouseproductions.com.
Yes.
So it's very exciting. Industry veterans like me, writers, producers, directors, who are raising up the next generation of creatives here in Hollywood.
Absolutely wonderful. Great stuff. Nancy, in our last minute here, I was going to do this, but you so are well articulated some of the things of faith. If there's people watching tonight who don't have a relationship with Christ, don't know what that means, because you talked about what faith or what hope we have, what assurance we have in that. What would you tell them, and what's available to them in terms of having a faith in Christ and a relationship with Christ?
Well, what's beautiful about it is that it's not religion at all. It's a total and complete, very personal relationship, and it's just simply a matter of asking God, I want to be closer to you. Would you reveal your son to me? Would you reveal Jesus, who you are, to me? And one of the greatest passages, one of my favorites, and I'm going to read it to you really quickly because it has ministered to me so much, I think it will you. Basically, it says, who shall possibly separate us from the love of Christ? And think about problems now. Shall trouble, hardship, persecution, famine, nakedness, COVID-19, any of that? No. In all things, we're more than conquerors through Christ, for I'm convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor demons, nor the present, nor the future, nor any power, neither height nor depth, nothing, anything in all of creation can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. And basically, he just says, I pray, and I pray this for you, that out of his glorious riches that you may be able to grasp how long and wide and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know that love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to overflowing with all the fullness of God. I pray that for you, and he will do it. So it's a mere matter of just saying, I want to know you better. Would you reveal yourself to me? I want to be yours.
Amen. And we just came through Easter season. We just watched the Passion of the Christ, Kathy and I, and the kids, and to see the redemptive work that Christ did. He became sin so that we might have forgiveness of sins. And just by accepting the redemptive work that Jesus did on the cross, asking him to come into your heart, trusting him in faith is what it's about. And that's the beginning. And so thanks for relating that, Nancy. It's so good to see you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
What a joy.
This. Yes. And it's been fun. And again, the hour goes by so doggone quickly.
It does.
But we'll do it soon again. And so thank you again. And I just wanted a couple things. These broadcasts will be available. We're still working on getting it to where we could simultaneously broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. So because some of the people that don't have a Facebook page, we're going to be doing that. And we are also, a couple of things again, next week, Paul Clark. Some of the things that we are going to be doing, again, we talked about Tommy Coombs' band, comedian, actress, Victoria Jackson is going to be on. I
love Victoria.
Yeah.
She's a good friend.
She is. Isn't she a wonderful?
Yeah. She's so amazing.
She is. And so we're going to be doing some of that stuff. And we'll be, just go to theupperroompresents.com and you can see what's coming up. Like us on Facebook and you'll get to see what's coming up. I want to thank my assistant, Marisa Personius and Felsen Palad, who have kind of handled all the technical stuff here, because I am totally inept if I didn't have them to do these things. So I want to thank them. Nancy, thank you. God bless you. We'll see you.
Thank you, my friend.
Goodbye.
Okay, lots of love to you and Kathy.
You too. And thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.